Good morning. Oh, we can do better than that. Good morning. I love it. Well, I thank you very much, Dr. Griffin. Thank you for the very kind introduction. And to all of you, I want to just say that the lives and legacies of Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King have forever changed the trajectory of this country. And even for those of us who were born, well, right around when Martin Luther King was killed and assassinated. They inspired marchers and resistors and peaceful protesters. They moved ordinary people to exhibit extraordinary courage. And these soldiers of righteousness, indeed all of us soldiers of righteousness, ignited real hope in this nation, that we might finally live up to the promise that all men and women created equal would be treated as such. But we know that hasn't happened. 60 years ago, one of those soldiers of righteousness was a very young man named Jesse Jackson. And just yesterday, we laid him to rest in his adopted hometown, my hometown of Chicago, Illinois. Reverend Jackson was an American giant, a crusader for justice, a battlefield general in the fight for working families, for the poor, for those who've been left out and left behind. And the sad fact is that just when his health began to fail, and just now when we've lost him, is exactly the moment we need him most. Because right now, grifters of corruption and selfishness, purveyors of bigotry and hatred have taken control of the White House and the Congress. And their aim is to make themselves richer and to do it at the expense of the powerless and the most vulnerable. The carnival barker in chief, sorry, maybe we should call him the commander in thief, says there's no federal money for health care and food assistance for people in need. But it turns out they're having no trouble finding money to send troops into American cities with assault weapons to terrorize black and brown people. They're shooting moms in the face. They shot a nurse in the back who was just peacefully protesting, and they killed him. A teacher's assistant on the streets of Chicago was shot 5 times for honking her horn and yelling. That's all. She survived, but so many others did not. These are American citizens, every one of the people I just talked about. Americans. So these spelunkers for misery in Washington, they told us that they're doing it to keep us safe. To keep us safe, that's what they said. They said they want to deport the worst of the worst. But I want to be clear. They've been doing something far more nefarious than what they've let on. Donald Trump wants to stay in power at all costs. And his biggest obstacle is the midterm elections this November. So on every front, he's assaulting the institutions of our democracy, trying to have the Voting Rights Act overturned by the Supreme Court. He's attempting to occupy American cities with soldiers and uniformed ICE agents who are carrying automatic weapons. Trump is setting the stage to place federal agents, now hear me, to place federal agents at polling places in November, so that when his party loses control of the Congress, he can invalidate the elections. He can claim fraud and seize the ballot boxes. You know what that sounds like to me? It's Jim Crow all over again. I came here today because while we honor the historical figures who inspired generations to stand up and fight for their rights, we're living in a new era that demands that each of us take up where Coretta Scott King and John Lewis and Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson left off, fighting for freedom, battling corruption in Washington, building a system that's no longer rigged against the working class and the most vulnerable. If there was ever a place to gather our soldiers of righteousness and remind America that the soul of this country is worth fighting for, it's right here in Selma, Alabama. Because it was here 61 years ago that legions of civil rights activists put their lives on the line in hopes of securing their civil rights, their voting rights, their human rights. And that battle is upon us once again. When Trump said that he was sending National Guard troops into Chicago, I made a promise to the people of Illinois. I said, if you come for my people, you come through me. So you know what we did? We took him to court. We stopped military invasion of our state. Activists on the south and west sides of Chicago protected their neighbors from ICE. We got a South Sider here. Suburban moms blew their whistles to warn people when masked federal agents came onto their blocks with their unmarked vehicles. Everyday people took out their cell phones and they filmed the attacks and they posted those online. And you know what? The majority of Americans were rightly outraged. With a racist, misogynist, homophobic, xenophobic narcissist in control of all the levers of the federal government, everything we care about is on the line, and I mean everything. Our protests must tell truth to power. Our votes in November must loudly proclaim our demand for justice. It's time for us to be loud for America. Let's be loud for America. Finally, in Deuteronomy 16:20, God commands us justice. Justice shall you pursue. Justice, social justice, economic justice, racial justice. Today, we must honor those who marched in Selma 6 decades ago. We honor them, and we honor them by continuing and taking up their march for justice. We have work to do. God bless you all. And God bless and protect our troops in harm's way. Thank you.